Okay, we're going to look at dot plots, our first type of graph. These might be a little bit of a review. I think you've seen these a little bit before, but we're going to start off pretty easy, but then we're going to get into some questions that you're going to see on your practice. So make sure you watch to the very end. The very first one, we're just going to make a dot plot. A dot plot is really easy because it's almost the exact same as a bar graph. We just use dots instead of a bar. So if I look at this set of numbers right here, I am going to go put them on this number line right down here with dots. So if I look, I'm going to starting at 1. That's my smallest number. So I do have 1, 1. So I'm just going to put one little dot right there. I only have one of those. Then I'm going to look at my numbers up here. I don't have any 2s, so I'm going to skip the 2s. Then I'm going to go to 3s. I have 1, 3. So I'm going to put one dot above the 3. Then I'm going to look for 4s. I have 1, 4. So I'm going to put one dot above the 4. I have 1, 5. So pretty much the same right now because all those numbers just have 1. But then whenever I get to 6, I have 2 of them. So instead of just putting one dot, I need to put 2 dots. And that shows me that there are 2 6s. When I get to 7, I have 3. So I'm going to put 3 dots above the 7 to show that there's 3 of those. And then I have 1, 8. So I'm going to put one dot over here. So a dot plot's really basic, pretty simple. You're just putting a dot for every time the number shows up above the number. Okay, I'm going to look at this next one, and we're going to do kind of what we did the last couple days, where we're finding median, mode, range, and mean, but we're going to do it from a dot plot. The most important thing that's going to help you out, it's going to be a lot harder to do if you're not following this, is you need to write your numbers out first, because we always talked about ordering least to greatest. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do that with this graph. So I can see right here I have 1 10. I have 2 11s. So I'm going to write 11 twice. I have a 12. I have 3 13s. 4 14s. I'm going to kind of run into the next row here. And then I have 2 15s. So I just wrote all those numbers down. Now it's going to make it a lot easier for me to find my stuff. We always said in my other video that I always do the mode first because that's the easiest. Well, the mode is really easy to find because if I look right here, this is my tallest bar, which tells me I have 4 14s. So that means my mode has to be 14 because that's what I have the most of. The range is the second easiest one. So if I look right here, my biggest number and my smallest number are 15 and 10. Range is the difference between the biggest and the small. So 15 minus 10 is 5. And then I can use the same way that we talked about earlier to find the median. I'm going to just kind of dot until I get to the middle. And I only have one number in the middle right here. That is 13. So my middle number of this set is 13. And then if I want to find the mean, I'm going to have to add all these numbers up. That's a lot of numbers, and I don't want to take a lot of time on the video. So I will tell you, when I add all these numbers up, I get 169. And then remember to figure out how many, what I need to divide by. I'm just figuring out how many numbers there are. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 numbers that I would add up to get 169. So I'm going to do 169 divided by 13. 13 goes into 16 once, which is 13. And then I get a 3. Bring down the 9. 13 goes into 39 3 times, which is exactly 39. So the average, the mean, is also 13. And that makes sense because it's pretty close. It's right about in the middle, so 13 would work. Okay, we're going to do one more question. It says the dot plot shows the wing lengths in millimeters for 10 birds. So if I look right there, I've got all my birds. It says which statement is supported by the data in the dot plot? Well, again, y'all, it makes it a lot easier if I just take those numbers and write them out. So down here below, I'm going to take all those numbers and I'm just going to write them least to greatest. So I have 146, I have 47, 348, 49, 51, two 53s, and a 54. And if I look at all these questions, it's asking me about half and more, fewer. So I'm really going to be looking at a lot of like fractions and counting numbers. So the best way to do these is to go one by one and figure out if they're true or if they're false. So I'm going to look at the first one. I'm going to look at F. It says more than half of the birds have wing lengths of less than 50. Well, the only way I'm going to figure that out is if I know the total number. So if I count, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have 10 dots. So my total is 10. It says more than half are less than 50. Well, 50 is right here. So anything less than that would be all of these. So if I count those up, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So is 6 out of 10 more than half? Yes, it is. So F is probably going to be our answer. Let's check the other ones just to make sure. G says there are more birds that have a wing length of 54 than birds that have a wing length of 46. Well, that one is not true because we can tell that there's only one on both of those. So G is false. And then H, fewer than half have a wing length greater than 48. Well, 48 is right here. So if I look at everything greater, I'm looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we already said it's out of 10. 5 out of 10 is not fewer than half. That is exactly half, so that's going to be false. And then the last one, there are more birds that have a wing length of 52 millimeters than birds that have a wing length of 51. Well, that's definitely not true because I don't have any birds that have a wing length of 52. So my answer for this problem has to be F. Okay, remember, take it one step at a time. Write your numbers out least to greatest below it. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to jump in our Google Meets and ask us a question.